In this video, I'm going to walk you guys through all of the KPIs for the cold calling operation that we just added into my land investing business. This is day 2 of our 30-day YouTube series, and I'm going to walk you guys through these numbers here. So I've been land investing for 6 years. I've done a little bit of cold calling here and there. We just brought it back in full time in our land investing business last month. So we've got our first 30 days on it. For you guys that are curious, last month we acquired 7 contracts that brought in $450,000 of pipeline profit to the business. So we've been rocking and rolling. I rebuilt my land investing business last year. I've been doing it for 6 years. I run 2 other companies that take up a lot of my time. And so the land business has been on the back burner for the last 2.5 years. I was putting in literally 5 hours or less per week, and we were still doing well, right? I still paid myself $500,000 both years. So we were doing well, but we weren't growing, and that was starting to peeve me. So last year I said, you know what? I'm tearing this thing down to the studs. I'm breaking it down. And I literally scrapped everything. We were running 4 marketing channels. I scrapped everything, rebuilt the team, let go of 3 people, hired 4 new people. And I said, we're going to master 1 channel at a time. I was doing 4 different marketing channels and they were working okay, but we weren't an expert at any of them. So I said, we've got a big team. We got to already have a texting operation. I'm going to keep texting in place. We're going to master that. And then we're going to start adding on additional channels. So that was last year, okay? It was 2024, middle of 2024. I finally felt like we were at a place about 2 months ago that we were ready to bring on another channel. Now we've got a lot of acquisition support. And so my thesis was we can handle a lot of volume. I'm not super worried about quality. So I'm like, give me the channels that can bring in the most quantity. And so far in my experience, that's texting, that's cold calling, and that's RVMs. I don't know how I feel about doing RVMs. So cold calling is what we went with, and we'll be stacking mail back into the business as well later in this year. So I'm gonna walk you guys through my learning. So first full month cold calling, okay, we've got 2 cold callers. They have slightly different hourly rates. I believe they're at $6 an hour, though blended together. Both of them are from Egypt. And then they get paid a couple percentage points on gross profit for deals that they generate. So most of their income should come from that gross profit compensation. That's really where the magic's at. The base salary is just to kind of sustain them, but we have a heavy incentive on gross profit, okay? So 2 cold callers, they brought in a total of 96 leads into the business last month. One cold caller brought in 54. The other one brought in 42 leads. Out of those 96 leads, we converted 12 of them to hot leads, okay? That's 7 for one cold caller and 5 for the other. You can start to see there's already a disparity in the 2's performance, okay? One cold caller had 5,159 connected calls. The other one had 4,583 connected calls. You can see, again, big difference there that we're seeing in terms of connected calls, hot leads, total leads. And actually, one thing I just made a mistake here. One cold caller is from Egypt. The other cold caller is from the Philippines. Jada, who has the higher numbers, she's from Egypt. Lester, whose numbers are a little bit lower for this month, is from the Philippines. So I made a mistake there. That is my bad. Now, we typically convert about 25% of our leads to hot leads. The conversion is obviously very low here, right? We're at like a 15% conversion from lead to hot lead. And I'll tell you guys why I think that's happening. The big problem that I was seeing, which is partially deliberate, is we started them with really bad data, okay? I wanted them to cut their teeth on old data. So what we did is we exported lists from Launch Control of non-responders, and that's who they were calling. So because of that, these are people that maybe just aren't as motivated. It's not the freshest, cleanest data. There's nothing to say that non-responders are inherently bad, but they probably didn't respond to our text message because they probably didn't want to sell. Like that's a kind of a reasonable thesis. And I think that's why our numbers were lower, right? For example, if we look at texting, we generated roughly 350 leads. And out of those 350 leads, we generated roughly 86 hot leads. So again, it's about a 25% conversion. That's held pretty steady for us on all channels. So what we did towards the end of this month, literally a week ago, is we moved them away from that non-responder bad data, and we moved them into higher quality data. So the way that we're doing that is we're using Land Insights for all of this data. What I've found in the land business is that like you typically get more bang for your marketing dollars by casting a really wide net. And so my thesis is we want to cover more surface area. And that's kind of counterintuitive. Like I think it is optimal in theory to like penetrate your lists as deep as you can go. But because inside of Land Insights, we have unlimited data. So my data is free and we can skip trace at 2 cents per record. The incremental cost to going really wide is very, very low. And net, I think you do more deals. Like if you could create a marketing machine that could hit all 50 states, you're going to do more deals than hitting 5 states. Like it's just that simple. Even if the data was constant, right? So if you had 1 million records in Texas and you had 1 million highly curated, motivated records for the US, all 50 states, I just think you're going to do more deals. It's just more surface area. So that's what we're doing with our cold calling. Now, this is a thesis. I'm testing this. We'll see if this actually plays true. Now, the way that we're doing this is we're using Land Insights to create what I'm calling motivation filters within our data. Okay. So we use Land Insights to select our markets. We're very selective with the markets that we work in. It's the same market selection process that we teach inside of Leah. So we're very, very methodical about the markets that we pick. Now, we're not focused on low Gini markets or homogenous markets because the ability that we get with cold calling or texting or whatever is that we can generate an offer on the fly. So we're not pre-pricing this data. We're creating an offer on the fly. We're using the Land Insights comp tool to do that. So we're creating really accurate offers on the phone in real time. So we're not looking for homogeneous markets in this example. So typically markets 25, 250 active listings, kind of following all the stuff that we teach inside of Leah for market selection. Then we bring it into the data platform. Now the way that we're creating motivated lists is we're doing 2 exports, okay? We're doing 1 export that's owned for over 5 years. And we're doing a second export, which is 5 years and under, but it has to be an inter-family transfer. It's a really cool filter that you get inside of Land Insights. It's a free filter to where you can sort by inter-family transfer. So typically those are going to be very motivated owners because they didn't go and acquire it themselves. They didn't say, hey, this is my dream property in Texas. I've been wanting this 40-acre property ever since I was 25 years old and I finally have enough money to acquire it. No, this is like Auntie Susie passed me this property in Texas that I've never been to. I don't really know anything about it. So we've got 2 separate data sets that we export for every single market. And then from there, we have an exclusion list that we plug into Land Insights that excludes all of the negative keywords that we wouldn't want to market to. Negative keywords like Bureau of Land Management or Walmart or PG&E, right? A lot of people have these in their data sets and it's just a waste of time. So we remove all of those. It's a lot of negative keywords that we remove. And depending on the market, that could remove 5 to 15% of our data. That's a pretty big deal. We're doing typically 2 acres plus, like 2 acres to 10,000 acres. That's our sweet spot. Those are the markets that we like to work in. It's either rural infill or rural recreational property data. It's not to say that you couldn't use this on other property cohorts. But again, when I go and back test all of this stuff and I look at the deals that we're doing that sell the fastest, that make us the most money, they fall into that category. Now, there's a personal bias there. You might make more money on infill. You just know the process. You know the due diligence flow, like you know the buyer pool. I'm a rural infill, rural recreational guy. That's exactly what we teach inside of Leah. I've mentioned Leah a lot in this video. If you guys want to learn more about the Leah model, go to landinvestor.co/apply, and my team will literally walk you through on a strategy call the entire Leah process. My theory is give away the information, and if it resonates, people will want to work inside of Leah. So it's not a sales call, or you can just learn the stuff and do it on your own. That's fine too. So you'll hear me mention that a lot in these videos. That's the backbone of everything that we do. And that's exactly why I've been able to build a land business that even to this day, while we're growing and hitting multiple 6 figures a month, I'm still working 5 hours a week in the business. And it allowed me to take essentially 2.5 years off from the business to build Leah and to build Land Insights. And that's because the way that we've gone about building this business is different than what anyone else teaches in this space. Not to mention the fact that our fulfillment inside of Leah is top notch. 30 plus hours of coaching calls a month, 300 hours of content inside of Leah. It's a behemoth, right? Back to the data. So the last thing that we do is we go through and we use the AI scrubs inside of Land Insights. So I'll walk you guys through my AI scrubs. Actually, sorry, I forgot one thing. We are not using the AI building scrub, okay? Instead, we are pursuing properties that are 800 square feet and below and have 10% or below for assessed improvement value. So I'm okay to buy a 40-acre ranch that has a 600 square foot cabin on it. So I'm not using the AI building filter to remove those. I want to keep those in my data set. So the other AI scrubs, we're removing all landlocked properties. We're removing flood zone and wetland properties that have more than 30% of the property covered in either one of those. And we're using the topography scrub. Now inside of Land Insights, there's two that you can use. There's the automated toggle that uses our proprietary filter just to remove it, and it's just automated, or you can do the manual. I'm using the automated one. I just find it's really easy and it does a really good job. It just makes it simple for my team. If you want to go deep, you can say, hey, a property that has 20% slope on 30% of the property, remove those. Like, so you can get very, very niche with it. And yeah, those are the filters. Most of these properties are somewhere in the price point of like $20,000 to a couple $100,000 as a list price. I'm not typically pursuing multi seven-figure properties. Some of them do slip in, but it's a very, very small percentage of what we're pursuing. And that's our cold call process. We have sent a few contracts out of those 12 hot leads. We have one that should be getting signed this week. It might get moved to next week with the 4th of July. So that's my process. That one deal is a 6-figure profit subdivide deal. So even if we get one of those, that's a pretty big win for our first month. What I think is going to happen this month with our cold calling, I think we'll probably get our lead flow closer to like 120, maybe 150 if we do really well. That should pan out to like 30 to 40 hot leads. We should probably be generating about 20 to 25 contracts sent. And I would imagine that that's going to pan out to like 4 to 6 signed contracts for 2 cold callers. So hope you guys enjoy this video. That's day 2. Give it a thumbs up and a like and a comment. We'll see you in the next one tomorrow.